Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets, and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, bringing you the final BugCap of the season, unfortunately. But at least it's a positive one, Bugboo, as the Steelers come out 28-14 winners over the Cleveland Browns at Acrisure Stadium. How'd this game make you feel? All right, well, remember, you got to not yell or the mic will not pick up your voice. So you have to talk normal or it just cuts you off if you start yelling. So what was your favorite part about this game against the Browns that we got to watch with Grammy and Uncle Chris? You say whatever you want.
Steelers scoring a touchdown.
You like the Steelers scoring a touchdown? We did that quite a bit. There were some concerning moments early on when the Browns take an early lead after the Steelers don't score. No one scores in the first quarter, but then the Steelers have Najee Harris try to extend the ball from the 1 yard line, fumbles it, recovered by the Browns, kind of a negative point in the game, although I guess a lot of people will argue that this showed a fault in Mike Tomlin as he refused to challenge an earlier play where it appeared Najee Harris scored. And that's what everyone seemed to say. But at the end of the day, that didn't matter much as the Steelers do come out big-time victors out there. Good way to end the season. Keeps Mike Tomlin's non-losing season streak alive as the Steelers finish 9-8. Defense seemed to get to Deshaun Watson a lot in this game. The running game was slightly above average this week for the Steelers. Kenny Pickett completing less than 50% of his passes. I mean, there's a lot of things that weren't great, but the end result was all you could ask for, wasn't it? Yeah. Did you like seeing George Pickens go out there and make some contested catches?
Yeah.
Yeah. Little disappointed that Deontay Johnson continued his ways of dropping the football, let's say.
Why did you even get that?
That's a fair question. I don't know. If you didn't hear, he said, why'd you even get that guy on your team? There were some fun points, but I mean, it's hard to really wrap up a season when the fact is the Steelers did what they had to, the Bills did what they needed for the Steelers, but that bad Jets team just could not beat a Miami team starting a third-string quarterback, which I guess you could say the argument is the Jets also were starting a third-string quarterback, but that's just two bad teams, and all I have to say is the Jets just announced that they fired Mike LaFleur. So much for a guy who is supposed to be an up-and-rising offensive genius, not really getting the job done, along with some other coaches that got fired. They're supposed to be offensive geniuses, looking at you, Cliff Kingsbury. But we're here to talk about the Steelers game and what went on. I mean, they held Deshaun Watson in check, it seemed. I mean, I know the numbers, if you just look at it, 65% completion, 8 yards per attempt, a couple touchdowns, look fine. But you have to ignore the fact that he also threw 2 interceptions, one by Levi Wallace, one by Mika Fitzpatrick, and he got sacked 7 times. It felt like it should have been 13. But the defense did a good job of containing the Browns' offense, don't you think? Yeah, a lot of those guys played with their so-called butts on fire, let's say. And seeing pressure from the front seven was a really nice thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to add about the way you thought the defense played?
No.
All I'm going to say is I'm thanking the Browns for not running the ball that much, Bug, as Chubb was averaging 6.4 yards a carry. Deshaun, when he was breaking out, averaged 7.3 yards a carry. Even Hunt, who struggled, was averaging 3.3 yards a carry. I mean, whew, they really seemed to get it going against our defense on the run, but they just abandoned it pretty quick, which is good news for the Steelers, huh?
Yeah, definitely. That was awesome.
Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about it. I mean, no receiver. I guess Cooper broke over 50 yards, but same typical day for the Steelers. A couple big passes led here, tight ends, running backs. But at the end of the day, it's what you expect from a Steelers defense when playing a losing team. You keep them under 20 points, and you give the offense a chance to be successful. Now, let's go and talk about the offense, Bug. This game was probably should have been the first time the Steelers really broke into 30s, and you felt like it was needed. Because let's say Najee scores that touchdown, all of a sudden, I mean, the Steelers don't go for too late in the game. They'll end up with 34 points, but that'd be the biggest score of the year. That's a pretty good showing to end the season by the offense, wasn't it? Yeah. And you're talking, I mean, when you look at these numbers on the offense, none of them overly impress you. I mean, Pickett completed just 45% of his passes for just under 200 yards. It's 7 yards or slightly under 7 yards an attempt. 1 touchdown, but he didn't turn the ball over again. He did get sacked once, but Kenny just seemed to do what he needed to do. On the other side, you had Najee running the ball 23 times for 84 yards at only 3.7 a carry, a touchdown, but a very costly fumble, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had Jalen Warren in there at 6 yards a carry, some good end arounds to Steven Sims and Hayward, who, by the way, Hayward, what a job of stepping up from Pat Freiermuth. The one thing I will say that disappointed me in this game was the injury to Freiermuth, but we hear it's not going to require surgery, I think is what Tomlin said, which is huge, which means he should be healthy for next year. So all being a good come out of the possibilities from that injury, huh?
Yeah, I didn't know that injury even. I didn't know that injury.
It was a little scary to see. You didn't see it. Oh, yeah, you might not have been paying attention. But, I mean, look at the thing out there. Hayward ends up being the second leading receiver. Pickens was 72, gets the longest touchdown of the year from Kenny Pickett to George Pickens. That's a 31-yard touchdown. It was a thing of beauty going on out there. Boswell this game doesn't miss any kicks. That's something nice to see. Harvin was averaging 48 yards a punt. He had only one inside the 20 out of his 3 punts, though. I mean, all in all, it was a great game to end the year. Defensively, seeing the interception, seeing Hayward get 2 sacks, Ogunjobi gets a sack, Watt gets half a sack, Edmonds gets a sack, Highsmith gets 2.5 sacks. It was a good end to the season, don't you think?
That Steelers winning, I think that would be like nothing done.
Yeah, lots of good things to go around there. The Steelers doing a really good job to end the year. Hopefully, something to build on going into the future, huh, Bugboo? Hopefully, we build on this record. What was it, 7-2 to end the year? Hopefully, we keep building on that, and we can start next year hot. Bring back a lot of these pending free agents who are a key part to the team. Maybe look to move on from some bigger contracts that aren't really worth the money, and bring in a little bit of help, specifically for me, to the offensive line and the defensive line and middle linebacker. What I'm really looking for to bring in some help. Maybe a cornerback if you find a great one, but I don't trust the Steelers in finding one. So I'll focus on where they're good at finding people. Tends to be defensive line, maybe a middle linebacker, maybe offensive line. But Bug, any closing thoughts on this season? As this is the last BugCap of the year.
Yeah. That I'm gonna do it next year.
You're gonna do it next year. That's a good closing thought from you. Any shout outs you want to give in this, the final game of the Pittsburgh Steelers season?
Mostly the whole team.
The whole team. That's fair. The way this team stuck together and is able to come back is good to see. I really thought they did a great job of keeping it together. A shout out to Tomlin there. And like I said, we'll see what happens with moving pieces. There's a lot of talk about our coordinators doing this or coordinators doing that. I know there's going to be a lot of people who want to talk to Brian Flores, as I believe the Browns have already asked to interview him for the defensive coordinator. So some changes come in Steeler Nation. But as Bug said, the change won't be with him. He'll be back next year. He might join me in a couple off-season episodes to talk about things that are going on with the Steelers. We'll see about that. But that is all we have for today. I am the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose of donkey with Ginger's YouTube channel. Leave us a like, comment, follow. Tell us if there's any off-season stuff you want us to cover, look into, breakdown numbers of, as we will be covering the playoffs throughout the whole thing. I'll be putting in some Steelers talk in with some playoff breakdown to keep things light, fun, and happy. But he's the Bugboo. He doesn't really have any socials. He's just a little guy. But for me, for Bugboo, I have to say, Steeler Nation, Dog Nation, we love y'all. Appreciate y'all for listening. Wave them if you got them.
Let's go Steelers Network.